Hey viewers, welcome back to WeCodeNoCode. In today's video, we're going to build a full-stack, fully functional daily journal app from absolutely zero. This is a complete beginner-friendly guide designed for anyone who has no technical experience, no coding background, and no prior understanding of how apps work. I'll take you through every single step, slowly and clearly, and if at any point you feel the video is getting long, feel free to fast forward. Everything is structured so you can jump to any section and still follow along. Every error, every confusion point, and every tiny detail has been explained step by step so you won't get stuck. But before we start, if you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more tutorials on AI, no code, and app building. All right, let's dive in. All the tool links you can find in the description of this video. So I gave Google AI Studio a simple prompt to build a fully functional daily journal app with login and email signup. The app should allow users to create, view, edit, and delete their journal entries, with all data securely stored. Users should be able to log out and return to homepage as well. Make a polished UI with balanced color theme. And with this, Google AI Studio has started its magic and started building our app as per the prompt. Watching it build everything step by step feels like seeing your idea come to life in real time. And the best part is that you don't need to write a single line of code to make it happen. While it is building our app, we will quickly discuss our full workflow. So we will be building the entire app using 4 powerful tools. Google AI Studio for creating the front end and designing the actual user interface, Supabase for user authentication, email login, and secure database storage, GitHub for version control and saving our project history, and Netlify to deploy our app to the internet so anyone can access it. We are not going to concentrate too much on design, advanced features, or adding a lot of extra functionality right now because the goal of this video is simple. By the end of it, we just want a clean, fully working journal app that functions end to end. That means the user should be able to sign up, log in, create entries, edit them, view them later, delete them if needed, and log out securely. Once that core flow is complete, you'll have a real, usable app that you can build on top of later with more features, more styling, and more customization whenever you want. Think of this as building the foundation of a house. We're setting up the essential structure, the walls, the doors, the flow, without worrying about the decoration or fancy add-ons yet. Having a strong base ensures the app behaves exactly how a real-world project should, from account creation all the way to data handling. And once this foundation is solid, you'll be able to come back anytime and enhance the visuals, add animations, include a mood tracker, attach images to entries, or even introduce AI-powered summaries. But for today, our mission is to build the simplest, cleanest, most reliable version of the daily journal app that works from start to finish. By keeping the scope focused and practical, you'll not only learn the core concepts behind full-stack app creation, but also gain the confidence to build larger, more advanced apps in the future. Now that our workflow is clear and the app generation is in progress, let's move to the next step where we explore what Google AI Studio has built for us so far. Our first version of the app is now ready, so the very first thing we're going to do is sign up and create an account. This is our initial test to make sure the basic authentication flow is working correctly. When we enter our details and hit the sign up button, the app should automatically create a new user, log us in, and take us straight to the main journal screen. If everything is set up the right way, we should be able to see the clean interface that Google AI Studio generated, the editor area, the space for writing our entry, and the simple layout for viewing past entries. For the demo, we have created a dummy account, and the app allows us to sign up and log in successfully. Now, I'm going to randomly create a few entries to test if everything is working as expected. So far, we've tested this, and our entries are getting created without any issues. Each entry appears immediately in the journal interface, and we can see the title, the content, and the timestamp showing when it was created. This gives us a clear idea that the basic functionality for creating and displaying entries is working perfectly in real time. At this stage, everything looks smooth and responsive, and it feels like a fully functional journal app. However, it's important to remember that all of these actions are happening only in the current browser session. But it's important to remember that the entries exist temporarily and aren't stored anywhere permanently yet. Yes, these are only temporary browser-based entries. This means that nothing is being saved permanently. If we refresh the app, every single entry will disappear. And if we try to log in again with the account we just created, we won't be able to access it. The reason for this is simple. We don't have any database connected to our app yet. Right now, all the data exists only in the current browser session, so once the page reloads or the session ends, everything is lost.
Now to add the backend, we will head over to Supabase. I've logged in using my GitHub account. Once you're logged in, click on Start Your Project, and on the dashboard, select New Project. Here, we'll create a brand new project for our journal app. Just type in a project name, set a strong database password, choose your preferred region, and then click on Create New Project. Supabase will now start setting up everything in the background: the database, authentication system, API endpoints, and all the essential backend services we need. This process usually takes a minute or two, and once it's ready, we'll have a fully functional backend environment that we can connect directly to our app. Now we will go to the dashboard of our newly created project, Mindful Journal. Here, if you go to the database section, you can see that the schema and tables are completely empty. There are no tables, no columns, and no structures created yet, which is expected because we haven't added anything so far. If you check the authentication section as well, you'll notice it's also empty. There are no users, no providers enabled, and no authentication settings configured yet. At this stage, Supabase is giving us a clean, blank backend environment so we can set everything up exactly the way our app needs. This is where we'll begin creating our database tables for journal entries, enabling email authentication, and preparing the backend so it works seamlessly with the front end we built using Google AI Studio. To connect this backend with our Google AI Studio front end, we'll head back to Google AI Studio and simply tell it that we want to integrate the app with Supabase. Then we'll provide all the necessary project details: the project ID, the API keys, and the project URL, all of which you can easily copy from your Supabase dashboard. Just follow the navigation and paste them where required. Make sure all the details are correctly provided. Once you provide all the relevant details to Google AI Studio, it will start making the required changes to the app, which are required to configure it. Just follow the conversation messages and take actions accordingly to integrate our application with Supabase. This integration replaces the mock local storage with the actual Supabase client for authentication and database operations. This step is extremely important because even a small mistake in the project details, such as an incorrect URL, a missing API key, or a mismatched project ID, can prevent the app from connecting to Supabase properly. So double-check everything before submitting it. As soon as you provide the correct information, Google AI Studio immediately begins adjusting the app's structure in the background. It updates the internal logic, rewrites the parts that were previously storing data in the browser, and prepares the app to use real backend services. All you have to do is continue responding to the guided prompts and making the recommended changes, and the integration process flows smoothly from one step to the next without needing any manual coding. It will suggest prerequisites as well, where it says us to ensure we have created a table named Journal Entries in our Supabase project with the various columns.
These prerequisites are essential because Supabase needs a proper database structure to store our journal entries. AI Studio usually outlines exactly which columns are required, what their data type should be, and how they should be linked to each user. For example, columns like ID, content, created at, and updated at help Supabase track which entry belongs to which user and when the entry was created or modified. Without this table in place, the app won't have anywhere to store or retrieve real data. So before moving forward, AI Studio makes sure we understand what needs to be set up inside Supabase so everything works smoothly once the connection is complete. Now, this is where Google AI Studio really becomes helpful. It not only updates the front-end code automatically, but also guides us through each step needed on the Supabase side. By following these instructions, we can make sure our app is fully connected to a real database, so our entries will finally be stored securely, won't disappear on refresh, and will be tied to each authenticated user.
Now, I have asked Google AI Studio to write the SQL code for creating the schema and tables in Supabase. This is one of the most powerful parts of using AI Studio. Instead of manually figuring out the database structure, writing SQL from scratch, or worrying about the correct syntax, we can simply ask the AI to generate the exact code we need. In response, it quickly prepares the full SQL script that will create the journal_entries table, along with all the required columns, data types, and constraints. This not only saves time, but also ensures that there are no mistakes in the structure, no missing fields, and no incorrect configurations. Once the SQL code is generated, all we need to do is copy it and paste it directly into the SQL editor inside Supabase. With just a single click, Supabase will execute the script and instantly create the required tables and schema in our project. This step is crucial because it sets up the foundation of our entire backend, the place where all journal entries will be stored, linked to each user, and retrieved whenever they log in. By letting Google AI Studio generate the setup for us, we make the process faster, simpler, and completely error-free. Now I will head over to Google AI Studio and say I have executed the SQL code in Supabase, and now the tables and entries have been successfully created in the database. Right after that, Google AI Studio continued refining the application to make the overall experience smoother and more professional. Since our database tables are ready, it automatically updated the app to handle the authentication flow more gracefully, especially the email verification step, which Supabase often requires when users sign up with their email. This ensures that new users go through a clean and secure verification process before accessing the app. It also added an initialization state inside app.tsx. This is a small but very important improvement because it prevents the login screen from flashing briefly while Supabase checks whether the user is already logged in. Without this fix, users might see a quick, unexpected flash of the login page before the app loads their session, but now the transition feels smooth and intentional. On top of that, Google AI Studio even took care of the visual details. It updated index.html and added the correct Google fonts, Inter and Merriweather, so the typography across the app looks cleaner, more modern, and more polished.
Great! Now let's test the app. For demo, we will try to create a dummy user account by doing the sign up with a dummy user account. And now you will see that the sign up will fail by saying the email address is invalid, which is absolutely as expected because this email ID is not valid, and in Supabase, we have not disabled the email verification option for the very first time login. Since Supabase requires real, working email addresses by default, any fake or temporary email will fail during sign-up. So we will quickly move to Supabase and disable the Confirm Email Verification option, save the changes, and try to sign up again. By turning this off, Supabase will no longer require users to verify their email before logging in, which is useful for quick demos and testing during development. Now, this time we will be successfully able to sign up and log into our app. Also, if we will quickly move to Supabase and check in the authentication section and under users, we will be able to see the details of the new user created, the one we created just now. This confirms that our authentication flow, sign-up process, and the entire Supabase integration are functioning exactly as expected. Not only does the user get created inside the app, but it also gets properly registered in the backend, which means our frontend and backend are now fully connected and communicating correctly. The sign-up flow works smoothly, the login screen transitions properly, and we are taken straight into the main journal interface. Now we will create few entries in our journal app and save the entries. After this, if you move to Supabase, you will see in the database section under Tables and Schema that all the entries we have created are showing here in Supabase. Each journal entry appears as a new row in the journal_entries table, complete with the title, content, user ID, timestamps, and all the other fields we added earlier. Every time we click the Save button inside the app, a new record is added automatically, which means the connection between our front end and back end is fully active. This is the moment where everything comes together. The front end we built using Google AI Studio, the authentication we set up through Supabase, and the database schema we created using the SQL script are all working in perfect sync. When we click Save inside the app, the data is no longer just stored temporarily in the browser or lost when we refresh. It is now getting stored securely inside our Supabase database, tied directly to the authenticated user who created it. This ensures that every user has their own isolated set of journal entries, and no data overlaps or gets mixed between accounts. Seeing these entries appear in Supabase confirms that our app is officially connected end-to-end. Whatever we create inside the journal app now lives inside the backend, which means it won't disappear on refresh, it can be edited later, deleted if needed, and retrieved anytime the user logs in. This is exactly how real-world apps behave: consistent, reliable, secure, and user-specific. With this, our journal app is no longer just a front-end demo, it is a fully operational application that follows a proper production-ready flow, making the experience seamless from sign-up all the way to saving actual data. Now that we've verified all our data inside Supabase, the next step is to test the reliability of the app. So we'll go back to our journal app in Google AI Studio and simply refresh the page. When the app reloads, you'll notice that nothing breaks. The authentication remains intact, the UI loads smoothly, and the previously saved journal entries continue to appear exactly as they should. This confirms that our app is not just storing data, but also fetching it correctly every time the user returns. After confirming this, we'll log out of the app and log back in again using the same account. This helps us ensure that the authentication flow is solid and that user-specific data loads reliably after each login. Once we sign back in, all the saved entries reappear instantly, proving that the connection between our front-end, Supabase authentication, and database retrieval is working flawlessly. To take the testing a step further, we'll now create one more dummy user account by signing up with a different email. This lets us confirm that each user only has access to their own journal entries. When the new account logs in, the journal should appear empty, exactly as expected for a brand new user with no saved entries. This confirms that data is fully isolated and secure for each individual account, just like a real production-ready app. With this, we've tested the complete flow, saving entries, refreshing the app, logging out and back in, and even creating a new user. Every part of the system works in sync, giving us confidence that the journal app is stable, reliable, and user-ready. Next, we will head back to Supabase to verify the newly created user account and confirm that everything is working exactly as expected. Inside the authentication section, you'll see the new user listed alongside their unique user ID, which tells us that the sign-up flow is functioning properly. Then, when we check the database under Tables and Schema, you'll notice that this new user has either 0 journal entries or only the ones we just created while testing, completely separate from the original user's data.
This step is important because it confirms that our multi-user setup is behaving correctly. Each user's data is isolated inside the database, and nothing overlaps or mixes together. Supabase is handling both authentication and row-level security just the way we intended. By seeing the new user show up in the Auth section and their entries appear or not appear in the journal entries table, we can confidently say that the entire workflow is successful. The app is creating users, saving their data, separating their data, and syncing everything between the front end and back end seamlessly. With this final verification, we know the system is working end-to-end for multiple users, just like a fully production-ready application. Now, the next step is to deploy our project to GitHub. We'll quickly push all the updated project files to a GitHub repository so we can keep everything version controlled, organized, and ready for future updates or deployment. We'll click on Save to GitHub, enter the repository name and description, choose whether we want the repo to be public or private, and then create the GitHub repository. Google AI Studio will automatically package all the project files and push them into the repo for us, so we don't have to deal with manual uploads or Git commands. Once the repository is created, you can open it directly on GitHub to review the full project structure, make future edits, or collaborate with others if needed. I've already made a detailed video on how to deploy your app to GitHub and Netlify, so if you want a complete step-by-step walkthrough from generating the repo to publishing the live site, you can check that out as well. It'll guide you through the entire deployment flow smoothly. Now we can head over to GitHub and refresh the page, and you will immediately see that a brand new repository named Mindful Journal has been created with all the project files neatly organized. Everything from the front-end code to configuration files is now properly stored inside this repo, and it looks clean, structured, and professional. You'll also notice that GitHub provides an application URL right inside the repository interface. If you selected the repository to be private, then only you, or anyone you explicitly grant access to, will be able to open the app from that link. But if you selected public, then anyone on the internet can access the application through the same URL. This makes the project easy to share, test, or showcase. Let's go ahead and click on the application link and open it. The app loads exactly the way it does inside Google AI Studio, which shows that everything has been deployed correctly. To test it properly, I'll log in using the credentials of one of the users we created earlier. The login works smoothly from here as well, confirming that authentication, database connections, and the entire front-end flow remain fully functional even when accessed through the GitHub-hosted version. This means our app is not only coded and connected, it is now properly stored, hosted, and accessible through GitHub, behaving exactly the way a deployed application should. Now the last step is to deploy our application to Netlify. But before that, if you're enjoying this video, found it helpful, and learned something new, consider subscribing to the channel. Log in to Netlify using your same Google or GitHub account. Once you're in, quickly complete your profile setup. It just takes a few seconds. To import your existing project, click on Import from Git. Netlify will ask for permission to verify your GitHub identity. This step ensures secure access to your repositories. Simply click on Authorize Netlify to continue. Netlify will ask you to choose a project name. This name will also be used to create your Netlify subdomain, where your site will go live. You can pick any name that matches your app, depending on its availability on the Netlify subdomain. If you have any environment variables to configure, you can do that as well. Once everything looks good, simply click on Deploy, and Netlify will start publishing your app live to the internet. It goes through a few stages in the production deployment process, first building, then uploading, followed by uploaded, and finally published. Once it reaches the publish stage, your app is officially live on the internet. If you want to deploy your app to a custom domain, just head over to Domain Management in Netlify, connect and verify it with just a few clicks. And there it is. This is the URL where our app is now live. If I click on it, it's showing a blank page. The reason is our app is using an API key, but we have not added the API key yet. So this behavior is completely expected because the frontend cannot communicate with Supabase until the correct environment variables are set. I will head over to Google AI Studio and say that I have deployed the app to Netlify and provide the Netlify URL, and also mention that it is showing a blank page. After pasting the prompt, you can see it immediately starts analyzing the issue. It will check what the app needs, why the blank screen is appearing, and what configuration might be missing. It will also provide the follow-up instructions step by step, usually asking us to add required environment variables into Netlify. All we have to do is follow the steps provided by Google AI Studio. It guides us through exactly where to update the configuration, how to apply the changes, and ensures that once everything is added correctly, during these error-fixing steps, if Google AI Studio makes any changes to the project files, make sure you commit and sync those updates to your GitHub repository. This is important because Netlify is connected to your GitHub repo, so the moment you push any new commit, Netlify will automatically detect the changes and trigger a fresh deployment. This ensures your live app always stays updated with the latest fixes. If at any point you want to manually trigger a deployment, you can also do that directly from the Netlify dashboard. It's useful when you want to force a rebuild after updating environment variables or configuration settings. And during this entire issue fixing process, if you get stuck or see any unexpected errors, simply take a screenshot of the error or copy the error logs and paste them into Google AI Studio. It will analyze the problem for you and provide clear step-by-step instructions on how to resolve it. Just follow the guidance provided by Google AI Studio, and you'll be able to fix the issues smoothly and continue your deployment workflow without interruptions. Now open Google AI Studio in another tab, and here we will create an API key for our project Mindful Journal. Once the key is generated, simply copy the API key. Next, go to Netlify and open the Environment Variables section. Click on Add a Variable, paste the API key, give it the required name, and save it. This step is extremely important because without the correct environment variables, the frontend will not be able to communicate with Supabase. And again, make sure you commit every single change you are doing during the error fixing process. Each update must be synced to your GitHub repository. Once you commit the changes to GitHub, the deployment automatically triggers in Netlify as well. This time, the deployment process completes successfully because all required configurations are now in place. Now, if you click the Netlify URL, you will be able to see our app fully hosted and running live on the URL. Now we can test the app live here. We can use any of the previous user logins we have created, and you can see that everything is working exactly as expected. When we log in, the app loads smoothly, the interface appears instantly, and all the journal entries connected to that user show up just the way they should. This confirms that the authentication flow, which we configured earlier using Supabase, is functioning perfectly in the live environment, not just inside Google AI Studio. I have also created a brand new user login just to confirm that the entire flow is functioning correctly from start to finish. This includes signing up with a new email, verifying the login, and checking whether Supabase actually registers this user inside the authentication section. And as you can see, everything is working just like we intended. The sign-up request goes through, the login is successful, and the app redirects the user to the main journal screen without any issues. This step is extremely important because it proves that our authentication, database connection, and front-end logic all work seamlessly even after deployment. Once we're logged in with the new user, we can start interacting with the app just like a real end user would. For example, we can create a new journal entry, add a title, type out some text, and save it inside the app. And the moment we click on Save, the entry appears instantly inside our list of saved journals. You can double-check everything in Supabase as well.
The new user we created shows up perfectly in the authentication section with a proper user ID generated by Supabase. This means the account creation process is working end to end. And the best part? All the journal entries we have made are updating in real time inside the database. If you open the database section under Tables and Schema, you'll clearly see every entry as a new row in the Journal Entries table. Each record contains the correct title, content, user ID, timestamp, and any additional fields that we added earlier. What's truly exciting is that whatever action we perform in the live app, logging in, creating entries, saving them, refreshing the page, gets reflected exactly and immediately inside Supabase. This confirms that our deployment is stable and fully functional. The front-end, back-end, authentication system, and database are all properly aligned, communicating with each other, and handling real user interactions without any issues. This level of verification is important because it shows that our journal app is no longer just a prototype or a development preview inside Google AI Studio. It is now a fully hosted, live, production-grade application running on Netlify, backed by a secure Supabase database, and capable of handling real user data with accuracy and reliability. So at this point, we have successfully tested the live version, validated both old and new user accounts, confirmed the journal entries, checked the Supabase database, and verified the smooth functionality across every step. The app is now fully operational, connected end-to-end, and ready to be used by anyone who logs in through the live URL.
And that's it for today's video. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe to WeCodeNoCode and hit the bell icon so you never miss upcoming tutorials. I've got a lot more exciting AI and no-code projects, tools, and demos coming your way. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep building, keep experimenting, and I'll see you in the next one.